I'm writing this from heaven. Here I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears or sadness, just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you every day, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you when my life on earth was through, God picked me and hugged me and said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. And as for your dearest family, they will all be here later on. God gave me a list of things that He wished for me to do, and foremost on that list was to watch over you. I will be beside you every day and week and year. And when you're sad, I'm standing there to wipe away the tear. And when you lie in bed at night, the day's chores put to flight, God and I are closest to you in the middle of the night. Do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, without rain, there would be no flowers. One thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I'm closer to you now than I ever was before. When you're walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only a half a step behind. And when you feel that gentle breeze or wind upon your face, that's me giving you a great big hug or just a soft embrace. And when it's time for you to go from that body to be free, remember, you're not going, you're coming home to me. And I will love you from that land way up above. We'll be in touch again soon. P.S. God sends His love. I first heard that poem read at my grandfather's funeral service almost 5 years ago. It was something that he requested to be read before he passed. At the time, and so many times since, those words have uplifted and encouraged me, as they have the many members of my family. On January 10th of this upcoming year, the 5th anniversary of my grandfather's passing will be upon us. Instead of being a day of sorrow and sadness, everyone who has had the privilege of knowing him will take a moment to remember the life of the late Richard Wayne Ditzfeld. They'll remember the unconditional love and support that he gave to his family, the many accomplishments he made throughout his lifetime, and also his legacy, something that will live on forever. I would now like to take a few moments to reminisce about the man who will always mean the world to me. While growing up, I remember Grandpa once telling me that when he passes on, he did not want me to be sad or angry, but instead to celebrate the life that he had and the time that we were able to spend together. He did not want his funeral to be black and gloomy. He wanted people to be happy because he knew in his heart he was leaving this earth to travel to a much more beautiful and carefree place, and that he would always watch over his family. He told me that our journey here on earth is a very short-lived experience in comparison to the eternity that awaits us once we pass. A popular concept that Grandpa drilled into the minds of myself and his 13 other grandchildren during his time on earth with us is that life is what you make it. It is very short, so live it with no regrets, and seek out to do all the things that your heart desires. My grandpa, the amazing man he was, taught this idea not only by his words, but by his actions as well. Grandpa led by example in showing the world honesty, leadership, hospitality, and dedication. When he was 18 years old, he started working at McLaughlin's furniture store. He worked for the company for the next 55 years, remaining on the payroll until the day he died. Grandpa did every possible conceivable job that there was to do, both on the furniture side and also in the funeral chapel that was next door. When Grandpa's health began declining and old age was upon him, he refused to retire from the store as, according to his former boss, he considered it a great privilege and honor to wait on generation after generation of families. It's what he truly loved to do. After his passing, in honor of his life and his exemplary service and courtesy that he showed every day throughout his life, a memorial award was named in his honor. The Dick Ditzfeld Courtesy Award is sponsored by McLaughlin Furniture Brothers and is presented annually to an individual who places a high value on courtesy and customer service and who has an ability to meet and greet the public and follow through with what their needs are, thereby expressing a genuine interest in each and every person. Each year, at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, my grandmother presents another highly courteous and dedicated citizen with the award. This is something that I feel not only helps us to honor the life of my grandpa, but also gives our family a formal opportunity every year to remember our loved one and the beautiful life that he led. On the more personal side of things, my grandpa, along with my grandma, collaboratively worked together to demonstrate to everyone around them the true meaning of family, a concept that I am very grateful for and cherish deeply. My grandparents were married for 56 wonderful years, raising 4 healthy children. From those 4 children came 14 grandkids, all of which meant the world to Grandpa. There was not one birthday or graduation that went by that any of us did not hear from Grandma or Grandpa or did not celebrate the event with them. Grandpa made it a point to go to every possible sporting event of his grandkids, always making sure that we knew that he cared. That is something that will never be forgotten. It is clear to see that my grandfather, Richard Ditzfeld, was an extraordinary individual who touched the lives of so many people throughout his time with us in this world. As hard as it was at the time, I honored my grandpa's wishes by making his funeral and the process that surrounded it the most positive experience that I could. I took time to reflect and to remember all the good things that Grandpa did for his family and all the life lessons that he bestowed upon me. It is hard to lose someone you love, but at the same time, death makes you remember. It makes you look back at all the times that you had with that person, both happy and sad. It allows you to open your eyes to things that you may have been blind to before. It makes you more grateful for the people you do still have in your life, and it can oftentimes make you have a different, refreshed perspective on life. I will never forget my grandpa and the special relationship that I had with him. He was my rock through every obstacle that life threw at me, something I cannot say about anyone else. There is not a day that goes by that I do not remember him or think about a time I shared with him. Some days I cry. There are times that I wish he could be standing right here next to me, but I know that instead, he's watching over me. He sees everything I am doing with my life. He sees me accomplishing all the things that we had talked about, and I know that he's proud. My grandpa was my very best friend and will always be missed by everyone that knew him and will never, ever be forgotten.